What's up, people? How's it going? Welcome to another episode of Tales of Travels, where I talk about, adventures that I had in Europe since I moved to Europe, which there's been a ton of them. But anyways, I thought I'd hit this up before I start jumping into more Bulgaria stuff since I'm in Bulgaria right now. But yeah, this is Leipzig, Germany, Part 2. Okay, in the first one, I already went over like how it got when I got to Leipzig, my flatmate, and a couple other things. But another thing I wanted to mention while I was there was pretty exciting since I'm a superhero fan. Is that's just when they were happened to be filming Captain America: Civil War at a local airport. No, at a local airport and the Leipzig train station, which is awesome. You got to see it, so that was pretty exciting for me. Considering I'm a superhero fan, and Captain America is like my favorite superhero. Coincidentally enough, I had to get a SIM card when I moved there because I get a SIM card in each country that I go to. And it was my first time doing it, so I didn't know where to go. So I went into this, they have a mobile phone store. And the guy that helped me was like super cool. And we started, while I was there, we started talking and stuff like that about this and that, and about different things. And I come to find out he was a comic book fan. And his name's Tony. We've been friends since then. So yeah, he was awesome. Just happened to be a comic book fan, a guy who also spoke English, except very many people there spoke English, and he used to live in the United States. Anyway, I just mentioned him because, well, he's a really cool dude, and also we're still friends to this day. He doesn't live in Germany anymore in Leipzig, but he ended up moving to Japan. I met a woman there, got married, and is living happily ever after. But while we were there, we hung out where I got to hang out a lot, and he showed me a lot of things about Leipzig, and he's the one who told me about the filming of Captain America. He was actually in it. He was in the movie because he's also an actor. So again, how cool is that? Wanted to learn how to draw as well, be a comic book artist because he was a big comic book fan. So he took me to a bunch of to a like a signing at a comic book store and showed me around Leipzig, and also got to teach him, started teaching him how to become a comic book artist. Um, but I think he was always a better actor. He liked that. He liked drawing too. But yeah, he's a better actor. He's also was in Japan. He's been in like some Netflix shows. So yeah, just go figure about what happens with the cool kind of people you meet wherever you go. It was funny. While I was there, I met this one woman. I forget how I met her, but anyway, she was from the United States. So I met somebody coming over there from the United States. I might have met her in Starbucks. But anyway, she was in Leipzig because she wanted to be an opera singer. So she was going to some, I guess Leipzig is big for that. So she was going to some kind of opera singing school there and doing studies. So I thought that was pretty neat. But anyway, she was there for a little while, and before she went back, or before she was gonna go like to Italy or something like that for a visit, but we decided to have dinner one night, um, which was pretty cool. So we went out. I went out to meet where she was staying at, where her flat was. It was like far in another part of the city that I hadn't been before, which was exciting because I'd just been to Europe, first time in Europe, first time in Germany, first time in Leipzig, and I'm already getting around places. And at this time, I didn't put in my SIM card yet, so and I didn't really know too much about the public transportation. We had a great time, and just hung out. Went to the school restaurant in Leipzig. I don't know where in the heck we were. I still don't remember what part of Leipzig we were in, but we ended up not keeping track of time because we were having such a good time, and I ended up walking her to her door and say goodbye, and then when I walked out to the road to the street, I went to the bus station because I needed to catch the bus back because I'd taken a train and a bus there, and I'm realizing, dang man, the buses aren't running anymore because it was like 1 or 2 in the morning. So I'm like, how am I gonna get back? Because I didn't know that the buses stopped at a certain time, the public transportation stopped at a certain time, and I didn't have my SIM card in yet. I didn't know how to. Yeah, kind of dumb. First time moving here in the United States, you don't have to worry about that. You just like hook it up with Verizon, and it's all set to go. Here, I didn't put my SIM card in, so I was like stuck. How in the heck am I going to get back to my flat that night? Because I didn't know what part of town I was, really, or how to walk back because I wasn't paying attention when I was taking the train and the bus there. Um, So I'm like, what am I gonna do? I can't. And I didn't want to go back up, knock on the door to my friend's place because I barely didn't know her, so I didn't want to say, hey, can I sleep on your couch? So so I'm like, how in the heck am I gonna get back to? And it was like, 2 in the morning. Anyways, while I was there was these two people there, this man, this woman there, that were also they came a few minutes after I got there. Or maybe they were there before I got there. Anyways, we started talking, and thank God they both spoke English, which was a surprise because not very many people that I had known in Leipzig spoke English, to my experience. So I was talking to them, and I guess they were um, wanted. It was late for them. Late for them to catch the bus too, so they decided to call a cab. So I'm like, hey, where are you guys going? They were going to go to a party, and I guess the party was in the city center, which where I needed to get to because I knew how to get back from my place from the city center. So, yeah, they were able to call a taxi, and I'm like, hey, they told them about my predicament, and they said, yeah, just come on and you can share the taxi with us. So thank God that worked out because I mean I guess I could have slept there all night and try to take the bus in the morning, but I did not want to sleep there. So because of them, they were so cool. They let me just hop in the taxi with them, which is again my first taxi in Europe. Taxis are easy, but I don't know how to call them, and there was none out on the street that late at night that I could see. So they let me share a taxi with them, and I went back. They invited me to a party that night, but I'm like I just want to get home because it's like 1 or 2 in the morning or whatever, and I'm tired. And yeah, so that was my experience with getting stranded in Leipzig in a place I hadn't been before after the public transportation had stopped. And thankfully, I think I'm still friends with one of them too, on at least on Facebook anyway. So from many years ago, it's just again, who you don't really know who you're gonna meet. But yeah, this is the beginning of me meeting a lot of cool people in Europe. Also, that was my first time I went to Prague because I found out while I was there, I wanted to visit someplace else. Um, and I was actually going to want to visit someplace else because I just decided to not stay in Germany. I'll tell you about that in a second. So yeah, I was able to it was only a 4 hour, found out it was only a 4 hour bus drive to Prague, and went there and back, spent a week there. I'll have to tell you about what happened there in another video, but yeah, Prague is so close to Leipzig, and it was like feeling like I was excited because I was just watching Mission Impossible, uh, first one tonight, and Tom Cruise is in Prague, so I had to get to Prague, be a secret agent. Anyways, while I was in Germany, the initial plan was to go to Germany and apply for a freelancer's visa, which would allow me to stay in there for a year, and then I could re-up every year after that until move to 5 years and kind of use Germany as my home base to visit other countries in Europe. Then I realized that when I was there that, man, if I did that, it would be going against what I initially planned to just travel all over Europe all the time and visit all these different places. Um, and, still pay for a place in Germany as well as, places in other countries. And that just wasn't cost effective for me because I was planning on traveling so much. So that's when I decided I got to go. But I didn't know how to go, how I was gonna, where I was going to stay, because staying in one place, I get a flatmate, staying in Leipzig, I had a flatmate to be able to use as a home base to get places. So I'm like, well, how am I going to, stay in places and rent places in different cities, in different countries where I'm going to be going. And I first started checking into rentals, and that wasn't going to work because you needed to have a visa, to rent, a flat there. Nobody's going to rent me a flat for like, 2 or 3 months. So I'm like, it was a little bit of a quandary. And that's when a friend told me about when I first heard about, of course, Airbnb, which I use all the time now, which was like that was perfect because it fit everything I had to um, checked all my boxes of everything I needed to be able to move to different places, to be able you book it online, and you could pick the duration of your stay, and and it was all pay for it, credit card, and didn't have to worry about cash, or anything because I was paying, cash with my flat in Leipzig. So I'm like, dang man, so I'm like, now I got to go. But yeah, that was a huge for me because then that kind of fixed everything. And of course, then I found out maybe before or during that time I could stay in every country visa free for 90 days. So that paired with being able to book a place in Airbnb, really easily, quickly, and for any time I needed, I'm like, let's get out of here. It's time to start visiting Europe. And the first place I was decided to go to was Ireland. So that's the place I booked as soon as possible. I booked a place to Ireland and started getting ready to take off. So that was awesome. When I was in Leipzig, of course, I toured every place, all the time, and because all around did that, and I'll have to talk about that later. But when I was there, I didn't have Wi-Fi where I was staying because we had nothing. Like when you go there, flats in Germany don't even come with kitchens. You have to get a whole kitchen after you move in. So we didn't have a kitchen, we didn't have a refrigerator, we didn't have anything. So I had to go other places, to like do my work and stuff. I'd go to um, Starbucks. So, and because of that, I'd leave in the morning to go work down there, and and then bratwurst became my breakfast of choice. Got to have bratwurst when you're in Germany. Wait a second, we did have Wi-Fi, yeah, because my flatmate had a computer there, so we did have Wi-Fi when I was working there. So I did was able to work there sometimes. But we don't have anything in the in the flat. Like I just had a couch in my room. Um, you want to get out sometimes to do some work, so that's why I did work. But we did have heated floors, which was the first time in my life I had heated floors, wooden floors. That was awesome because I got there in the winter. But again, we didn't have a refrigerator, so because it was so cold outside, I used my windowsill for my refrigerator. So I'd put my food when I go shopping outside there. And thank God I left to go to Ireland soon. It was getting springtime because yeah, I was getting too warm outside to keep my food fresh on the windowsill. Hey, you gotta adapt, when you need to. And that was my first time, of course, taking so many getting used to doing so many public transportation with the train and the buses and stuff. Because I grew up in San Diego and we didn't really have that. I mean, we have a trolley there and buses, but most everybody used a car, so that's what I had to use the car. So it was fun doing that because it was in Europe, when Europe do as Europeans do. But also I get to find out a little bit of what how some of the Europeans do. Some of them some of them, a small part, aren't exactly keen on deodorant. Yeah, what really meant a lot to me was because I was looking for other places to work sometimes. Right across the street, this one really cool woman opened up a um, cafe, which was awesome because it was right across the street from where I lived, and it had Wi-Fi there and all that kind of stuff. So I started going over there to work, and while I was there, I got to meet this a lot of people there. And one of the people I'm still in touch with, he met him. He lives in Spain now. But anyway, there was this one a woman, and she had two kids, and one of the kids was a daughter. She had a daughter, and at the time she was like 10, and I found out that she loved to be an artist. They found out I was an artist, and because I was working there, I was drawing there. So that's how I found out she was an artist. Anyway, the girl's name was Stella. Yeah, Stella. And yeah, she was so cool to meet her, and because of that, and I was able to. She couldn't speak any English; she only spoke German, but her mother spoke English, so she translated. And through her mother, I found out that she was so excited about artwork. She would draw like every day, just drawing whatever she could, and anything she picked up just to learn about artwork. And that because of that, that really, and also she was really just a cool kid, you know. And so I offered like, hey, why don't I teach her while I'm there? So yeah, so while I was there, she became my personal. I became her personal tutor. So we'd meet, I think, about once a week there, for the remainder of the time I was there, and I'd teach her all about artwork and comic books and stuff. So that was really fun. And whatever lesson I'd give her, and I'd give her homework, and she would actually do the homework. And I was just like, my heart went out to her because she was just awesome. So that really encouraged me to do my best to teach her all that I could while I was there, because she was so hardworking, and I could tell she just wanted to learn. And it was just fun, like my first experience in my life where I would talk to somebody for so long and we couldn't understand each other, but yet we did understand each other, because her mother wasn't with us the whole, every second of the lessons, so we still could communicate. So yeah, I guess art is an international language. It was just really fun because I teach her everything I would teach her, she would do, and she would um, practice and show me her work. And so yeah, she really made her and her mother really made my time before I left Leipzig really meaningful. That's why like when I left, I was kind of bummed because one of the reasons for her because of her because she was such a cool student, little cool person, and her mother was really great. So it was great to meet them. And I even took a picture of I may have to show it some here on here sometime, but picture together before I left of my best European art student from Stella. I forgot the last names. Um, but yeah, took a picture of her. So it was honoring me that she wanted to take a picture with me, and she was so, gosh, just so proud of the artwork and stuff. And I was very proud of my really cool, really good. She was really good too, art student there in Leipzig, Germany that I met at a cafe. Yeah, I also met like again a couple other people there. One from Portugal, Mariana, yeah, and then Eduardo, Edu. There were again we're still friends. So yeah, so many people that I met when I was there. I even met this one woman in the cafe there that we were also talking, and she only spoke German, but somehow we kind of understood each other. So it's just funny how that when people want to talk like that, when you meet them like that, that you can do it. In spite of the language barrier. It just it was a lot of cool people I met there when I was in Leipzig. And then I finally decided to leave. But before I did, I got to hang out a lot going back to my friend Tony, a lot with him. He showed me around while I was there, took me to um, um, like this arboretum, yeah, with all these plants and stuff like that was there, which I wouldn't have known of unless it was him. So he took me to this, I think it was the east part of Leipzig. Um, so a bunch of cool places over there, restaurants and things like that, a comic book store, um, city center. So because of him, I got to see like a lot of Germany, a lot of Leipzig I wouldn't have had a chance to see on my own. So that was like really cool. He was just really excited to. Um, I was really excited to meet him, especially he used to live in the United States. He'd gone there, a student exchange program, so that's why he could speak English. But also and then he was said that I was a comic book artist, so it's like win-win. So it was, and again, like I told you, we're still really good friends today. But yeah, it was really cool just hanging out with him. He showed me all these different things. We actually met up a lot, and I was teaching him artwork, so he'd do the artwork, and um, he'd also tell me all the different um, rehearsals he would go to because he was pursuing being an actor then too. But yeah, I just again bring that up to talk about all the cool friends I made, and that was while I was in Leipzig and that just thankfully was able to pass on to other parts of Europe, which I'll get into that later when I get to other parts of Europe. I'm trying to think of Tony. He's an actor, and he reminded me of another actor, but I forgot which one. I'll have to remember later. Oh yeah, they have amazing beer in Germany. I'm not a beer fan, so that's why I could say it's amazing because I actually liked it. And I only mention this too because when I finally decided to leave and get out of there, um, Tony took me out with a few other friends I had met there to go on I guess a pub crawl. So that's what we did. It was my first pub crawl. I know you guys probably did a ton of them, but that was my first one. So we went out that night, and yeah, just had fun. And German beer and Czech beer is delicious. So yeah, we just had a lot of fun doing uh, I had a lot of fun drinking beer, like not for the first time, but almost the first time. Especially the first time drinking European beer, and it's amazing. But anyway, yeah, since I decided to leave, discovered Airbnb, had to get out of there. I was super excited to get to my next location, which is Ireland. Yeah, I mentioned that earlier, but to go to Ireland, get out of there and go to Ireland. So yeah, I packed all my stuff. I booked my plane ticket and my bus ticket. Oh, and my Airbnb, which was going to be in one stay for a week in Dublin. I had to stay in Dublin, and then in Cork, which again, two places you've got to go. And yeah, and then of course my friend Tony came through again because he needed some place to stay the night before I left. So I just hung out with him, and he took me to the bus station in the morning to get on to the bus to Berlin, and then the plane from Berlin to Dublin, and start my Ireland adventure. Before I talk about the Ireland adventure, the the trip to Berlin to the airport in Berlin was not without its challenges, let's say. But anyways, we got up early, super early in the morning, because I had to take, I think, like a 5 a.m. bus to Berlin. So we did that. I got up early, and Tony helped me with my stuff down with him, and got on the bus or got on the train, which of course I'm styling because I'm on a European train, and off I went, and I ate a lot of stuff for breakfast, which again I don't think I should have done. Yeah, so anyways, I'm going to Berlin, and I guess I'll count Berlin as a place I've been to, even though I've only been to Berlin on the train and to walk out to the airport. But anyway, on the way to Berlin, I started feeling, rumblings in my stomach, which didn't feel too good. A little bit, when I was first going there. But anyways, when I first started getting that, when I was about to stop at the first stop, I realized I better go to the toilet. But but I was gonna stop at the bus station. I'm like, okay, I mean the train station. So okay, I'll stop. I'll get off this train, and I'll go while I'm waiting. Cause I had to wait for the next train. I had to catch another train, so I was going to be at the train station for not very long. It was only like 5 or 10 minutes. But anyways, I got off, and I'm realizing it's only like 5 or 10 minutes to the next train. It was my first time in Berlin on a train in Berlin to try to get to the train station. I wasn't sure. I tried to look for a toilet, and I couldn't find one close enough. And I'm like, oh man, this is not gonna do. But I don't want to miss my train, and missing my train, I didn't want to miss getting there early enough to check into the you know, check in my luggage in when I got to the airport. So I'm like, what am I gonna do? What am I gonna do? But anyway, my train came, and I'm like, okay, screw it. I just got to take the train, which wasn't the best of ideas. So anyway, I'm like, screw it. I'll just have to hold it, till I get there to the airport. So I'm carrying two luggages and my backpack with my computer and stuff in it. And I left it like a third luggage at Tony's place, which is awesome. He's a great friend for that. But anyway, so I'm taking a lot of luggage with me, and it was for me it was a freaking long ride from that train station to the airport. And let's just say at this point it got extreme, and thankfully I didn't go. I was so freaking scared to, because and I think one time on the way to the airport, I got off the train really quick to see if I could find a bathroom on the train platform, and there was not one. So I had to get right back in, and continue taking the train to the airport, and it did not feel good. Yeah, so I'm thinking other ways on trying to figure out, okay, how is this scenario going to play out? Maybe if something happens, people won't like notice, and I'm like, no, they're going to notice. I'm having so much trouble, like, because the longest I've ever had to hold it in, and I'm not talking like number one, okay? The longest time I had to hold it in, so I'm like kind of freaking out. People could probably tell that I was sweating, because I was sweating a lot trying to be okay, you know, to get there. And I'm like thinking, when is it gonna come? It was taking forever for the for the airport stop to get there, for me to get there to that stop. And I'm like gritting my teeth, looking around everywhere, and like I think I did my best job holding stuff in. So thank God I finally get there, and of course, to get my stuff out, I have to uh, steady myself at first, but I rush off as soon as I could, and just hauling it, a beeline to the airport. And I'm like, but on the way there, I'm like, for obvious reasons, I would go a few steps and then stop, and then clench, and then go a few steps and stop. And that's the whole way. It was like a little bit of a way to walk through the tunnels of the train tunnels, station tunnels, out into the parking lot to the airport. And then I still had to get across the parking lot to the airport, to the airport doors. I'm like, what the heck? So, anyways, as I'm stopping and starting and stopping and going and stopping and going, I finally reach the airport doors, and I'm thinking, please God, let the toilet be closed. Let the toilet be closed. And thank God, as soon as I walk into the airport, the toilet is close. It's like super close to the front door. So I'm like, run right over there to there, and then I opened the door, and the freaking toilet was full, and I'm like, no. And then and I think the stalls are full too. But then I as soon as I came in, as soon as I got in, somebody came out of one of the stalls, which is like freaking. It was so perfect timing. So I just took. I had two like big suitcases first. I couldn't leave the suitcases in the bathroom, so I had to. I jammed the suitcases into the toilet and closed the door just in time. So anyway, yeah, that's my tales of travels in Leipzig. Because you guys pretty much know what happened after that. Thank God. Anyways, suffice to say, I made it, and nothing was soiled, and everything was cool. So yeah, and I was after that was just my check-in, and my bags and go to security and stuff like that, gates, and waited for my plane to Dublin, Ireland. No, how's it? Dublin, Ireland. Yeah, Ireland. My Irish accents got really bad. But anyway, yeah. So that was my time in Leipzig, part two, and then the next one was going off to Dublin, which will be another tales of travels because I have a bunch of tales of travels of stuff that happened to me in Dublin. Oh man, it's one of some of my best times I had when I went to Dublin and when I went to Ireland. Yeah, so that'll be coming up soon. Probably the next tales will be about that. And please, if you enjoyed this, please click the like, click the subscribe, and maybe the one that says to alert you when I put up new um, vids. And yeah, you guys all happy New Year and have a great start to your new year. Catch you next video. Ciao.